Okay. So what we are learning today is something that some of us have come across a little bit, as I've realized in your ALEKS modules and everything like that, and doing all of your assignments, is this idea of converting between units of measurement. Okay. So what we're going to be working on today, if you are following along, make sure you are taking notes. We're going to be doing metric mass and volume conversion with whole numbers. All right. So a lot of us, like I said, I've seen you kind of transition into taking care of this on ALEKS with questions like asking you to go from converting something from grams to kilograms, or something like centimeters to millimeters, or gallons to centigallons, something crazy like that. How are we going to be able to do that? Okay. We're going to learn that right now. So we need to understand the way that conversion works. Okay. There's a little mnemonic that's going to help us out with this. It's called kids hate doing math during cold Monday mornings, right? You might have heard this before. It's a little silly. I understand that, but it's going to help us convert between different measurement tools. So kids, or kilo, kilometer, right? For those of you that run, you probably heard of 5Ks, right? 5 kilometers, like things like that. So kilo. Kids hate, hecto. Doing, deca. Math, meta. A lot of times this is where you're going to start. Okay. So this is kind of your middle ground, right? When they go to meters to kilometers, right? You're going to start in the middle here and then work your way to the left or right. So just kind of keep that in mind. So kids hate doing math during, or deca, like decimeter, things like that. Kids hate doing math during cold, or centimeter. And then millimeter for Monday mornings, right? So like I said, I know it's a silly mnemonic, but it's really important to jot this down. It's going to allow you to kind of convert and move things left to right with our decimal points, and kind of intermix moving from meters to centimeters, meters to kilometers, things like that, or whatever is given to us, how we're going to maneuver. But your standard unit of measurement, one thing we want to note and add there is that this is where you're going to start. So this is where grams, meters, pounds, things like that, that's all going to be in the middle. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So they're going to give us a unit and we're going to have to convert to a different one using this idea. All right. One thing that we might want to note as well is that each of these movements is one decimal place. So like say I start here and I want to go from meters to kilometers. I move my decimal 1, 2, 3 spots. If I want to go from meters to centimeters, I move my decimal 2 spots. And we're going to see what that looks like in a couple examples here. So first one, we want to convert from 4,000 grams to kilograms. Okay. We want to be able to take 4,000 grams and figure out how many grams, doesn't matter what we're measuring necessarily, but what is 4,000 grams in kilograms? Okay. So what we're going to do, the first thing, you're going to write down the 4,000. All right. And you're going to put a decimal point at the end of the 4,000. So I write down 4,000. I put a decimal point at the end there. That's what that little dot is. And then I'm going to go to my chart and I'm going to ask myself, well, I'm going to start at grams. I'm going to start there in the middle because that's what they tell me, right? Remember, that's my standard unit of measurement. That's in the middle. And to go from grams to kilograms, how many movements do I have to do to get to kilograms? Okay. So in this first example, if I'm at grams and I need to go to kilograms, how many decimal points do I need to move over to get from this middle term to the end term there to kilometer or to kilograms? How many points over is that? And you can use the chat too if that helps. Nice job, Jay. So in the chat, Jay said 3, right? To get from grams to kilograms, I move over 1, 2, 3 decimal points to the left. All right. So the first thing we do is we put the decimal at the end. The second thing we do is move in the direction we are converting to. So we put the decimal at the end, and then we move in we move in the direction that we're going to. So if I start with 4,000 grams, I'm going to kilograms. Well, I know kilograms is 3 to the left. So I'm going to move my decimal point 1, 2, 3 spots to the left. And now I have 4.0 as my new number, right? I started with 4,000 and now it goes down to 4. When you're moving your decimal point, it's one place value over. So in between that number, and then I stop in between that number there. Okay. So to answer our question, 4,000 grams is 4 kilograms. And that would be your final answer. Okay. So we put a decimal place at the end, and then we move accordingly based off of that prefix or whatever they're asking us to get to. Okay. Any questions about that first example? The second example, the last one we're going to take a look at, we want to convert from 200 liters to milliliters. All right. So 200 liters. I want to know how many liters that is in milliliters, or how much that is in milliliters. So you have 200 liters of soda. That's a lot of soda, right? How many milliliters is that? This is a specific example for you. So I'll start by writing down my original number. I have 200. Okay. What does my first note tell me I need to do? Where do I have to put a decimal point to start? What's that? Well, hold on. So we didn't convert yet. I start by writing down the original number. Then what does that first note say there? Where do I put the first decimal point if you're looking at your screen? At the end. Good. So I write down my original number. I put the decimal point at the end. You always start there. Then now I'm going to work on converting. So liters is in the middle. That's another standard unit. Okay. How do I get from liters to milliliters? How many spaces do I have to move over, and in what direction to get from liters in the middle here to milliliters? 3, okay. And in what direction? To the right. Right, look. So I start here. I go from liters to deciliters, centiliters, milliliters. So I'm going to do the same thing now with my decimal point. I go over 1, 2, 3, and I put another decimal point. Now, in the first example, we were going in between numbers. Now, when I'm moving my decimal, there's no numbers out here, right? You fill those in with zeros. So wherever there's a little gap there, fill it in with a 0. Okay. So now what's my new number? How many milliliters is 200 liters? What's this number right here? What's that number on the bottom? Not 20,000, 200,000. So 200,000 milliliters makes up 200 liters. That's your conversion. Put a decimal point on the end, move it however many spaces you need to get to where you need to be. So if they ask for kiloliters, you would move it to the left 3, right? It really just depends on what they're asking you. A lot of times it'll be centimeters, milliliters, or, kilo. A lot of times it's there. And a lot of times you're going to start just right in the middle with grams, liters, meters, things like that. Okay. Any questions about either of those two examples or anything related to converting? Please make sure, I'll give you a second to do it. Please make sure that you have this written down. This is going to be super helpful for you when you are going through the problems on ALEKS tonight for your homework, and anytime that you have something like that when you're converting. Use that mnemonic, right? Kids hate doing math during cold Monday mornings. I know it's goofy, but also it helps, right? Because you'll remember that more so than you'll remember kilo, hecto, deca, meta, like all that stuff. Okay. Any questions for me about anything that we covered today in class? Okay.